Okay, so now after we look at all of the guys that have been signed, Greinke, Price, Marja Zimmerman, everyone else, there are a couple names left, and now there's going to be some trade rumors swirling around because some people didn't get who they wanted. The two big free agency arms left, Cueto, Kazmir. Cueto 29, Kazmir 31. Safe to say Cueto is going to be costing a lot more. Which one of these guys do you want? If you're a general manager, who would you pursue more?
Well, it's a hard question to answer because it all depends on what the organization needs. If you got a guy set at the top of your rotation, I'm not gonna go for Johnny Cueto because last year he had some arm issues. You don't know what was going on there. He came to Kansas City, didn't pitch all that well. He didn't really pitch that well until the postseason, and then we saw in the postseason he came and pitched on the road because they're chanting his name. The crowd's chanting his name, so it gets in his head. That's a head case. I don't know if I want to throw $100+ million at him. And he just turned. And before the Diamondbacks offered Greinke, he turned down $120 million from the Diamondbacks. So he wants more money than that. So we've seen Scott Kazmir. He's pitched well these past 2 seasons. And if you're going to get him at a good price and not the amount of years that you're getting Cueto for, I would hop all on that.
I mean, yeah, really, that's the thing. And it's not to down talk Cueto. He's a very good pitcher, but. To me, maybe more suited for the NL. Didn't thrive in the American League when he was here, when he was there, I should say. And Kazmir, proven in the American League last year, had a really, really good ERA. Actually, I think
past 2 seasons he's had a real good ERA.
It's gone under the radar.
And even when he went to the Astros, he's still nothing. He didn't miss a beat.
And too, when you really think about it, he's 31, and the reports are Kazmir's looking to get paid more than Iwakuma. I mean, I'd hope so. But are you going to tell me right now that Scott Kazmir is going to settle for the same contract as Jeff Samardzija? Because if so, Giants, you've really made a huge mistake here. Scott Kazmir way better than Jeff Samardzija. But if even if he says bump me up a little bit more, give me $20 million a year. The in between of Zimmerman and Samardzija. I mean, all of these teams that need pitching need to be calling Scott Kazmir. All of them.
And just think about it. This guy was out of baseball 4 years ago, and he comes back, and now he's about to be making $20 million a season. What a turnaround for Scott Kazmir. Incredible.
I think though, that to me it makes a lot of sense too, because I don't know how many years he's going to be looking for. Cueto's looking for 6 years at least, and he will not settle for a penny less than 25 a year, but he's probably going to want 28 north.
I don't think he's worth it.
With the way what just happened to the market, 28 is maybe the right price.
Right now, who's going to give it to him?
That's the problem.
I don't see anybody giving it to him. Maybe the Cardinals. The Cardinals are in dire need of a pitcher.
Well, especially after letting Lackey go,
exactly.
and through the.
And that was under the radar too. No, he's a great.
Yeah, it was so under the radar we didn't even mention it last segment.
Yeah,
which is a problem. I think that was a really good signing by the Cubs.
Yeah, me too. He's a great postseason guy. He's a veteran for that staff,
and he doesn't need to be an ace. He was an ace for St. Louis last year. He's the fourth pitcher on this team.
That's the biggest spot where I see Cueto going is the Cardinals, and he's had a lot of arm issues. He even had an oblique issue because of the way the way he pitches, he turns or whatever. He's even had an oblique issue, and there's a lot of variables that are going into that signing, and I wouldn't want to throw all that money at him.
But now the thing is, there are a lot of teams that are going to be thinking that way. I don't want to throw the money at Cueto, and I don't know about Kazmir. Right, and this is where trades come in, and the one pitcher right now who's is being floated around in trade talks is Jose Fernandez, the Miami Marlins pitcher, absolute ace. I'm not positive on this. Either it's a streak or he's never lost at home. It is one of the two. But he's been great for the Marlins. He's under contract, I believe you said, for 3 more seasons.
Yeah, three more off seasons.
So obviously that makes him extremely valuable. The two teams right now that are being linked, at least the two that I've heard so far, the Dodgers and apparently the Yankees are throwing their name in the hat as well, as they should. Jose Fernandez.
I think every team in baseball should be throwing their name in the hat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for the most part, right? The Yankees, I don't know. I don't know. What is it, What are you going to be thrown at him? I mean, is it worth giving up Luis Severino and
absolutely
having to give up Gordon? I think is his name, the outfielder down in the minors. I feel like that's not his last name.
No, not Sanchez, is it?
No. Oh man. Yankees outfield and prospect. Very, very upset that I cannot remember
Anyway.
the young kid's name. But, Dave, as you looked it up, what is going to be the price tag? Are the Yankees going to really mortgage the future again for one pitcher? With considering the moves they've made this offseason, I don't really know if that is going to. It's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge. I think Gordon, because I think Aaron Gordon, he looks a little bit like the basketball player for the Orlando Magic. It's Aaron Judge. To move, that's a lot. That's a lot to be asking. And I'm not even saying that that's what the Marlins are going to be at. That's not saying what the Marlins have asked for, but they're going to be looking for a lot.
They've said that in order for the Marlins to trade him, he has to be pried from their hands, and absolutely as they should, because he's under control for a couple more seasons. And
now, I think, though, in my opinion, the Dodgers are an interesting play here. Corey Seager, all the hype in the world around him, came up, produced. And when you look at Carlos Correa, in my honest opinion, at the age of 20 years old, Carlos Correa is the best shortstop in baseball. Tulo struggled in Toronto, and I think he's past him, and it's just not that deep a position, to be completely honest with you. I really believe that at 20 years old, Carlos Correa is the best shortstop in baseball. By the end of next season, within 340 days or so, we could be sitting here having this conversation and say Correa is 1, Seager is 2. Seager could even be 1, okay? And if this kid is that good, and let's say the Marlins find him to be that good, if the Marlins get Seager, and you now look at that lineup, you look at the middle infield of D. Gordon and Corey Seager, especially if those guys batting 1-2 and then stand to drive him in. And I'm going to assume that there's going to be more than just Seager Fernandez straight up. That's not happening because Fernandez being an established guy. You're going to get more in return. And we know the Marlins still have some money to spend this offseason. So maybe they make the move for Cueto. Maybe they fill that piece in. I'm not saying the deal gets done, and I'm not sure that the Dodgers actually want to move from Corey Seager. They might look at that as their future. But I think it's an interesting concept, and I think that these trade talks are real. I think there's going to be discussions, and I think that the Marlins won't do the move unless they get Corey Seager in return, and I think that that's really going to make the Dodgers decide what they want to do.
That's a nice theory and all, but that if that were to work out, Marlins are in great position and they're looking great for their future. But let's say that doesn't work out. Let's say Seager's not the guy that he's
It's a chance.
Yeah,
it's a chance,
and he's not the guy that everyone thinks he is, because he's not proven. We saw a little bit of him, but he's not a full proven. Stanton goes, you just traded away our best pitcher. I'm gone in 2 years. He has an opt-out clause. Gone. Stanton's gone. Then you're at, where do you go from there? You're crushed as an organization.
Well,
that's why it's the big risk, like you said. It's either big reward, big loss.
I think that there are in baseball 2 players that I think are important to their organization as LeBron James is to the Cavs. When the Cavs make a move, the move does not. They don't ask David Blatt. The general manager is barely brought in. LeBron. How much do we offer Tristan Thompson? Let's be real here. How much do we give Kevin Love? And LeBron writes that number down, and that is what those gentlemen are paid. Okay, when you look at Giancarlo Stanton, that man, in my opinion, 2 seasons in a row, if it were not for injury, would have finished as the MVP. I think he would have beat Kershaw out for it because he was having a great year. And last year he got off to a bad start and was leading the league in home runs like a month after the All-Star game, and at that point was out of baseball for like 2 months. It's ridiculous what he does. And they're going to say, hey, Giancarlo, look, Jose's a great pitcher. We think that Seager could be the guy. What are your thoughts? Make it happen. Beautiful. Great job. And now he's not going to say, you screwed me over. No, we've gone over this together. And it's the same thing with Trout. We hear certain pieces being linked to the Angels, and I promise you that they're constantly saying, hey, Trout, is this the right move? And Trout is probably sitting there saying, it doesn't matter. I'm going to leave so I get paid $50 million a year. Because if that's what they're paying pitchers, that's what you're going to be. I'm getting paid $50 a year. So I think that the Marlins would have to be very smart about it.
Yeah,
Don't just go, let's get rid of Jose. let's throw D. Gordon out. No, we're not going to be stupid about this. You need to be smart.
Yeah, and
But it could be something that works out for both sides.
yeah, that's if that were to happen, and let's say they go out and Dodgers get another pitcher on top of that.
Well, but you think about this, right? And the Dodgers rotation now becomes Kershaw, Fernandez, Iwakuma, Hinryu. The back of the bullpen is Aroldis Chapman and Kelly Jansen, and Kenley Jansen, and then you have a lineup that's doesn't really matter because, geez, look at that pitching.
It's a 7-inning game.
I mean, that's
Kershaw. Like when Kershaw's pitching, the manager doesn't even have to do anything. He sits there, guy. You're gonna go 7. All right, you know the rest. Like I don't need to do anything.
Not even if Kershaw's normally gonna go 8, so Jansen and Chapman can coin flip for who finishes the game out.
Yeah, seriously.
And then Fernandez will go 8, and they can whichever one lost the day before can go, and then they both pitch when Ryu and Iwakuma are pitching, except for when Iwakuma randomly gives you a no hitter. And you just got to hope that Adrian Gonzalez doesn't get old, and maybe Jock Peterson can be good for a consistent season, and Puig, I don't know, pulls his head out of his rear end.
I don't think the Marlins have what it takes to trade Jose Fernandez because like you've seen what he's capable of.
It's a hypothetical.
Oh, it is.
It works. I think for both sides, there's obviously
I just don't,
a lot of small details that I can't really break down. But
this is me. I can't trade someone like Jose Fernandez for a guy that hasn't proved himself for a whole season.
It's not going to be just Corey. It's not a straight up, though. That's all I'm saying. It's not a straight up. And if the money is there to sign Cueto after, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. We'll have to see, though. But right now, I mean, that's where they're left off. Dodgers looking for a pitcher, Cueto and Kazmir looking for teams.